What's happening? What's
Yep.
happening? What's happening, fellas?
What's up?
Yo,
What's up?
what's going on? What's going
Pat?
on tonight?
Let's go. Let's get after it.
What's going on tonight? Yes. Anyway. Once again, we are back for another exciting episode of The Point, where our goal, as always, is to help players, fans, and coaches be more intellectuals of the game. Tonight, we're going to start off a little bit differently. We're going to just talk about a certain premise, and then we're just going to run from there, fellas. So I'm just going to jump right into it as I see fit. It says the hoop season is coming fast. Last spring season came and went. The summer circuit is evaporating into fall, and we'll soon be trudging through winter again. Basketball time goes faster than any other, which can be a beautiful thing if you're doing the right things. Otherwise, the tries don't supply the change, and your game stays mostly the same. So, fellas, here we are. We're talking about, I will say this, and you guys know this also, is that basketball players, other athletes, but basketball players in particular, are a hard-working crowd. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your hard work is going to translate into net growth and development, because if you're not working on the right materials, if you're not applying the right amount of pressure, you don't have that benefit, and you don't spend the time, then it's just not going to materialize. I mean, you know,
Mm-hmm.
there's like I said, there's some guys who every day dedicate themselves to their craft, but is that dedication producing chartable growth? What do you guys think?
All
I,
right, Craig.
I, yeah, when you get into your off season, because that's what we're talking about. I think when you talk about producing growth, and the thing is what I did a lot last summer is I spent time watching what players were doing. So I saw some NBA players and what they were doing, and I think as you talk about this, one, the player has to know throughout, once they get through the season, they do their exit interviews with their coaches and things like that. You've got to find out what it is the person you're going to be playing for with the team you're with
Yep.
is looking for you to better yourself at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think there's a lot of different ways that should go. I think you should have your trainer who helps you with knowing what that is, what your optimal success looks like and what it should be.
Yeah.
Doing your drill work. Then I think there's also, you've got to have a coach that is willing to watch film with you, because you
Well,
need partly that right there. And
you have to film chop. You
you
have
got to film chop,
got
and
to.
Yes.
then you have to put
Mm-hmm.
enough 5-on-5, 4-on-4, 3-on-3, 2-on-2, 1-on-1 breakdown into your game. That has to be all of your production during the summer, so that when you do go back, you have encompassed what your coach is asking for. Because
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, it's about that coach and what their thought of you is for the success in your environment that you're in. And so yeah.
I agree with that, because the exit interview is critical, because it gives you an outlay or a game plan for you to have a starting point. But
Right.
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest strengths that a player can have, and is to be able to identify weaknesses, or have someone in your corner or inside your circle that's going to be straight with you, because we see this happening around a lot of quality players, that their
Important.
circle is a hindrance to them, because
Mm-hmm.
they're not being honest with it. There's not transparency. They're
Right.
Mm-hmm.
afraid to actually tell the player what it is that they really need to work on, because the coach is going to tell you, hey, this is the role I see for you.
Right.
But if you limit yourself to the role that the coach prescribes to you, you may be passing out water jugs during the season.
Yeah. Yes.
That's facts. Yeah, that's true.
because you have to
I
carve
agree.
out your description. But it has to be realistic, particularly now that we're talking about as soon as you graduate from high school, you're vying for a pro job, because college is professional.
It's an audition.
Yeah.
It's
It's absolutely an audition.
It's pro now. So the thing is, like, so you have to be able to, like you said, Craig, not only do you have to be able to go break the thing down, but you have to be able to film chop so that you have an application model to attach with your new skills. Like for example, what you said, we were talking, I don't know, was it yesterday when we were talking about this, Craig, and you said that because like everyone is and we talked about this too. Everyone's is singing the praises of Luka Doncic because he's been able to lose all this weight, and he took the criticism to heart, and we call him skinny Luka now and all these different things. But Craig, you said something that's on point. You said, yes, but that's just the first part of the equation. That just prepares him better to be able to do other things that are going to be mandatory to lead them to a place of prominence. So that's just part A, because everyone's so proud of Luka. I'm proud of Luka. We got a chance to watch skinny Luka play a few nights ago. But is that going to change the key element? Is that going to aid and abet his application month?
For him to maximize who the Lakers need to be, because the same thing happened in Dallas. It wasn't that they didn't think Luka could score the basketball and make plays. That wasn't the key. The key is are you going to do the things on the other side of the floor? Because we all know, you can talk about as much as you want about who can score. Winning championships comes down to defensively on that side of the ball.
That's true.
And that's what. Yeah. And when you're talking about who they say he should be, MVP, this great player and all this, it comes down to him, because you'll watch him play and he is so disinterested on the defensive side of the ball that it affects it. Sometimes they're playing 5-on-4 because of the way he approaches the defensive side of the ball. So like, I was watching a little bit of highlights last night, or from a program where they were showing highlights of him, and it's still some of the same things. Transition from offense to defense. Is he spreading the floor?
But that's where they being in shape comes in, because
right. I believe that's good. That's going to help. Yes,
but this is the deal. This is the deal, because what are they playing? They're over in Europe playing right now, right?
Are they? I didn't know that.
He should have somebody with him right now. The Lakers should have somebody with him right now, and they are breaking down film of him playing right now, because it's not just going to happen when he gets to training camp. This becomes habit. And you know how hard it is to break a bad habit in order for it to become a good habit for you. And so all those things that he's done, those are all the bad habits. So y'all don't care if you're in great shape or not. It isn't about him being in great. It is, because it should help him be more productive on the other side of the floor. And we know this. He is not a lockdown defensive player. That's not what they're asking him to be.
No. They're not asking. A lot of playing defense is wanting to play defense too.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of times where, like you said, he didn't want to play defense. He was so offensively gifted, he didn't think he needed to.
Yeah.
To win championships, you got to play some defense, good team defense, and also a little good individual defense as well.
And this is the thing, like I told Troy, and Troy and I talked about this. When you are a gifted scorer, you know how to attack the defense on the mistakes they make.
Yes.
So you anticipate the mistakes they're going to be. So if you can be that gifted on the offensive side, you can be just as good on the defensive side, because then you're anticipating and understanding what the next phase of what that player is trying to do. And
That's
for
right.
me, yeah.
But there are some physical realities. So like I was just telling you, guys, I like to go to the gym still and mess around and play, right?
Right.
Now, if we were playing, you'd be like, oh man, I see you, coach. But the problem is closeouts. So if you expected me to close out
Yeah.
from the middle of the key all the way out to the 3-point line,
It's not going to happen. It's not.
I just don't. I mean, I can't give you that. So
Yeah, it's not happening. Yeah.
with Luka being in better shape, he should automatically be a better off-ball defender.
I think the perfect example is this right here. This is the perfect example. And it does come down to this. Steph Curry is one of your most gifted perimeter players that we've seen of all time.
Correct.
And physically, he's not the greatest defensive player, but you don't ever see him being out of position. He's understanding the philosophy, the fundamental philosophy defensively for the Golden State Warriors, and he busts his ass on the defensive side of the ball. That doesn't mean he's gonna stop anybody, but you ain't ever gonna see him out of position, not giving the effort that you need on that side of the floor. That's where we're looking for Luka to improve, is that part. We're looking for effort. Like I was watching just now when they were playing in Europe, the ball was being transitioned from one end to the other. And in the great shape that he is in now, because that's what we said, he doesn't even get back to get in the ball level of play in transition. So that's what you're talking about right there. You can, hey, he's going to be great on the offensive end.
Yeah,
that's effort.
But
that's effort. That's effort.
Yes.
And it takes physicality to be able to honor your rotations, to be in that passing lane based on where the ball is. The ball's one pass away from you. The way my philosophy as a defensive coach, the ball's one pass away. You're up in that effing lane. And that takes physicality. You know, you're tired or you're lumbering, and then sure, the ball, they skip the ball 2 passes or 3 passes away. Yeah, you can kind of ease into the paint a little bit. You can't even be in the paint in the league. So there is a physical reality to playing defense more so than all. You can disguise. You can get away with being being slow on offense, but to be a half step slow on defense is a world of difference.
It's a problem. It's a problem.
Yes. The other thing I will say about this, where I look forward to seeing him on the offensive side of the ball because he is in better shape, you know this. He's so gifted offensively. Now that he's 15, it looks like he's probably dropped 15, 20, right? 15. I'd say 15 for sure.
He looks good.
Where he will be better on the offensive end, he won't have to have the ball in his hands for so long because he can get into what he needs to without having to set the defense up with so many pounds of the ball. That's where he would get in trouble at times too, is he'd come down and there's, he gets the ball across half court. So you got 14 seconds, 16 seconds left on the clock. Sometimes because he's trying to make that play and they need him offensively to do it. By the time, this is the same thing that happens with him and LeBron on the same floors. Sometimes they hold on to the ball and a guy won't get it until there's 4 seconds left on the clock. So I think that's where he'll be better. That's where I think he'll be better. His decision making, because he's in better shape, will be much better. It will be quicker. I think his process of making the play will be a lot quicker. So that's where I think that'll help him a lot being in better shape. I don't think he'll hold on to the ball as much.
Man, in terms of Luka, man, what I believe is, as far as the team aspect with the Lakers, the only trouble I think they'll run into, you got LeBron now, who he doesn't play defense as well as he used to play. Like I said, he's sometimey too, and he gets tired, he gets winded. AR's not a great defensive player, right? I think DeAndre Ayton will help in the middle.
He has
to help. Again, the Lakers did what they normally do. They got rid of some key defenders from last year, which is who was the outside guy played with Luka in Dallas? They let the guy go 6'8".
Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah.
They got rid of Dorian Finney-Smith. Being a Laker fan, what I dislike about the Lakers is that you get used to these guys. They get into a rhythm of being Lakers and playing a certain way, and you're like, okay, we need this guy. We need this guy. He's gone at the end of the year. They get rid of him. They continue to do that. Didn't Dorian Finney-Smith was an excellent. Was
but
that?
could you pay him? How could you pay him? You're going to pay paying AR.
Then you got to find a way. You got to find a way, man. You have to find a way. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not a GM. Like I said, I'm not a GM, and I don't deal with the dollars. But we spoke about it earlier, Troy. They've given up a lot of guys, man, a lot of pieces, right?
They basically ruined that. Like we talked about earlier, I think that they wasted 2 of LeBron's championship seasons when they changed the chemistry of that bubble championship team, man.
They did.
Yes.
They did. I mean, they got Luka, but then, like I said, you've just turned the team over again. They do it every year. You turn the team, so now you're starting all over again. See, instead of knowing what you got and building on that, you keep starting over. And they've been doing it for the last 4, 5, 6 years. So regardless how in shape Luka's in, was that?
No, we've been saying that. We've been saying that these GMs don't seem to understand the value of team chemistry. Not to cut you off, sorry. Go ahead.
That's true. No, that's true. That's true, and particularly the Lakers. Like I said, but I think that's just the way they deal with their contracts. They don't, they're paying so much money up top with LeBron and Luka and whomever else that they got to play around with the other guys. Get people to come in for 1 year, here, there, but they're gone. They're gone somewhere to come back and hurt them through the year. I guarantee Dorian Finney-Smith hurts them this year. At some point in time, he's going to hurt them. It always happens every year. But like I said, back to Luka, it doesn't matter how in shape he is. It don't matter whatever. He's going to look much better because he is in shape. But if they're unable to play great team defense and make stops, it's going to be the same old story at the end of the day.
But it can't be the same story if they get that's what made the bubble team so formidable, because you had perimeter defense and you had rim protection and AD.
Yeah.
Because AD has special talent off. AD and LeBron are very talented off-ball defenders. They both are.
Excellent.
Well, the other thing that people forget that he was really important to their championship was Dwight Howard.
Yes,
man.
Because
we talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah. We had JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, and then you had Caruso, you had KCP, and then you had the thinking brain of Blanco.
They had a squad. Man, they had a squad, and they broke it up.
Yeah,
like,
because think about it. Because Anthony Davis is a terrific shot blocker. So if he's just the secondary blocker, he gets to roam around and then ball. LeBron is tremendous. Most incredible dunkers are great passing lane players, because that means they get 2 stats, 3 stats. Yeah. They get a steal, they get a bucket, and they get a highlight. So they're hyped about playing that pass lane. LeBron's great at that. So when you got perimeter defense and rim protection, that makes LeBron and AD better. But let me tell you something. DeAndre Ayton has a new mentor now, and that's LeBron James. We talked about KD and other players not having the leadership gene. Well, LeBron does. And I think that if they can get DeAndre Ayton to play into his role, that means that if they can get him to buy into the Bill Russell role, you guys are going to be tough, because they've got enough scoring. They can always use another perimeter shooter, but having that guy anchor their defense and rebound for you guys, man, that would change the fortunes.
The thing is I've watched DeAndre Ayton play.
Phoenix.
Yeah, I saw him play for Phoenix. I saw him play in Arizona too, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is he needs somebody like LeBron at this stage in LeBron's life, or his career, at this stage right here. That might be the most important thing that he brings to the team, is his leadership and the way he is as a leader, because he will make everybody feel like they belong on that team. You know, that's the one thing. If you talk about differences between him and Michael, the difference is LeBron is one of those guys that's infectious with people, no matter who it is.
He's gonna embrace you.
He's
Yeah,
going to embrace him. He's you're going to want to play with him because he puts you in the right positions all the time.
But MJ didn't coddle guys, but he challenged them. And most guys deep down want to be challenged.
Right.
People that thought that Michael, you have to be a B, and no disrespect to any woman. You'd have to be a B, not the one to be challenged. Like somebody who wants to go get it, wants you to strap him on and come with him. Now LeBron is just a little bit different. He puts his arms around the guys and talks to them and makes them feel like when Jordan's talking crazy to you. Talking crazy to you.
But
he's trying to make you play up to their level. Their level.
Yeah. But that's the difference between if you want to talk about basketball 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that's the difference. That's the difference. You almost have to coddle some of these guys, these younger age guys, because they've been paid their money.
Spoiled.
Craig, that point right there.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jordan just they already got their check.
Yeah. And so now you ain't gonna talk, and this is their thoughts. Man, you ain't gonna talk crazy to me like that. And they put their head down.
That's right.
What you gonna do? He's getting paid $300,000 a night.
You know what you're gonna do if you're old school? You're gonna do like Draymond Green did. You're gonna sock him, mother. Nothing gonna happen because you really want it. You got this punk kid, quote punk kid, not understanding the assignment. So that's really frustrating when you think about that. I mean, because Moses Malone, what did Moses Malone tell Charles Barkley? He said, "Man, Negro, who are you kidding? You're fat."
Yeah,
and lazy, and lazy.
And like you fat and lazy, bro.
Lazy,
who you expect me to tell you? You're fat and lazy.
Hey, getting back to what we started the show with. What I'm looking forward to in this upcoming season, because we're talking about players and what they have advanced their games to be. I think that goes along with what players are now going to take now that they're into their years of 16, 17, 18, 15, because we got a lot of those, right? All right. What is their fall off? Does Steph Curry have a fall off? Does Kevin Durant have a fall off? Klay Thompson, you already saw his fall off, right?
Yeah.
So now it is, where is their fall off, or what role are they willing to accept now?
Hey, man, we haven't seen Clay's fall off to this year because he's in a whole new realm right now.
Yeah.
Hey, his off-season training regimen took a hit. Ain't no way.
He was spending a lot of time doing something else.
Yeah, it was like you couldn't blame him. Like Russell Wilson fell off his first year around Sierra because he wanted to chop film, but she walked through the room. He was like, he was like, I got that. You know what I mean? So,
but So seeing these guys, not only if they're going to have a fall off, what will it be? Will it be? Because Steph at the end of that series, they didn't have enough, and he's happened to play those minutes, and that's how he gets the injury, right? Because his body can't handle that type of
he's breaking down.
And the load that he has to play.
True.
You know what?
True.
But see, here's the thing. I don't see. There's very few players, and I'm sorry. I'm not saying that Steph doesn't work hard, but there's very few players that show up with something different. Like Kobe was and LeBron too, man. They show up with something else. Michael Jordan showed up with something else.
Right.
Every season. Yes. When the Pistons were whooping him and Scotty's butts, I mean literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Him and Mike showed back up ripped.
Yeah. They worked. You're right.
Then all of a sudden, the next year, like in year 5 or 6, all of a sudden Mike's got the mid-range post game where you can't do with Mike in the mid-post. LeBron, the same thing. LeBron's got a little a mid-post game.
Yeah.
You know, when you start seeing LeBron straight, but even his body work going to the basket's got better. But I'm just saying, I don't necessarily see players, the stars, add to their games. I mean, that's the thing. Somebody like AR-15. What's he gonna look like next year? What's he gonna add? You have to have a mix of the young. You have to the championship team. This is what usually happens to the formula. The championship team. They have the veterans that are either maintaining themselves or improving side. You have one of your guys that makes a big leap like AR did last year, and then you have a youngster who's doing way more than expected. Those are championship type teams.
Right.
That's true.
And so that's why, you know, when you look at some of these teams, we're looking to see what Kuminga's going to do. This is to me is his prove it year. If he's a superstar, if he's just another athletic player that can play the game of basketball,
I think he already proved it. I think he proved that he can get his the way he's going to get his, and doesn't necessarily fit in Golden State.
Right. But I think also it comes back to him seeing the game on the IQ level a little bit more too. You know, and that's tough because he's trying to be himself and take that next step, but he's still playing with high level pro like that the offense still goes through Steph, you know. So
he might be better off. He might be better off in a different organization. Give him an opportunity to grow. Yeah, might give him an opportunity to grow a little bit. Give him a little bit more responsibility because Steve Kerr messed with him a lot last year. You know. I think when Jimmy came in, it kind of pushed him to the back a little bit, and he was coming off an injury. So, and they were rolling, so he just kept sitting him down. And Kuminga needs to play. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you have to play this dude.
Yeah, he'll never get any regulation responsibility in Golden State because the pecking order is going to be Steph. Draymond is really Draymond's regulating way more than we think offensively.
Right.
I agree. He is.
There's just not a lot of room unless you're these talented non-intellectuals. They just have to find the right home.
Right. Right. The other thing the other thing that you just mentioned and I was mentioning is you're seeing more players, and this is the difference between when we came up playing, because the game was refereed so differently. Your body got beat. It got beat up. Now the players can last longer because they're physical. They're not allowing them to play as physically as they were during the times that we're playing. I mean, you think about it. Remember when they always would show the Pistons and Jordan going to the lane and just every time getting pounded.
Wear him out.
That was wear him out, man. You know, and he played every night. Every night. You know, these guys, they load management and they don't have to play, they don't have to take the physicality of like it was before. You know, they let them play a little bit more physical in the playoffs that I saw, but it's still you don't see ain't anybody going through the lane and getting put on their ass. They're not doing that anymore, you know, because you'll get suspended.
That's a flagrant foul. Yeah, that's a flagrant.
Yeah. So now I think it allows players to play longer. Now the difference is that there's always been the fact of they've played so much more basketball at the youth level that it causes injuries as they start getting older because they've played so many games at a younger level at the AAU level. But it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see when the season comes about what teams and what players that we're talking about, what players have really, because we watch the games and go, okay, is that player going to make that transition to the upper level, or is he going to just continue to ride where he's at? Is a John Morant going to be able to, you know, finish out his season and take his team to a higher level? What has he done with his game? Or is he just still going to be the athletic kid that plays the game that way? You know, so we're looking for that right there.
Wemby,
that's the hard part.
Wemby?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that's the hard part because it used to be that if you were an incredible athlete, that was just on top of your floor game.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
It wasn't like your game was built on your high flying. It's just
Right.
the high flying came along with it. Like for example, just think back to how athletic Gus Williams was.
Yes.
But when he got up and threw down, you'd be like surprised because it was never that important. But the way he ran the team, the
Yes.
way he orchestrated, the way he played, the way he processed,
Yes.
because there's a relationship between the offense, the defense, and there's a certain symphony that needs to take place so that you're not making the game up. We talked about that earlier. There's the offense has the right to lead or to have the law of leadership. So I can I can force the defense to be something so I can process and see what to do. So that means you're
Mhm.
never making up. You're never just all you're not playing from a preset standpoint. All your presets are fundamental skill set that's based on the outcomes of what you're processing. Like we said, Craig, it's like playing the game as if you're at a uncontrolled intersection.
Yes.
All you're doing is making reads and
Mhm.
proceeding accordingly.
Yeah.
That's what Ja Morant's need to be able to do.
Right.
That's the type of things where it takes you to be able to sit down and we talk about it. Where do kids now? The pros have opportunities, but where do the young kids go? Who do they go to chop film in a way that's valuable?
I was just thinking that when you were talking about that, that's what we need to. That's where the NBA needs to go back down to the youth, and there needs to be a guideline for who is allowed to be, and I know they'll never do it, who's allowed to be able to work with these kids so that it grows our game, because you got so many kids that play. The kids are, no matter how you want to say it, the kids are way more athletic nowadays at a younger age, way more
They are.
athletic. And it
Overall,
would be
overall.
overall, so it would be so nice to see. It would be nice to see those kids have the fundamental and the IQ understanding of the game, because then, man, then now our American game isn't touched anymore, But I think they gotta somehow they gotta sync up, and spend time building it down at the youth level.
Yo,
What
Craig,
ends
on
up
that note,
happening
like you
there?
said, oh my bad, Trey. I don't mean to cut you off, but most of these
No,
kids,
you good, go,
they,
brother.
yeah, they got trainers. Uh,
Yeah.
they're with certain programs. It's the responsibility of those trainers and those programs to make sure that they're providing these young cats with what they need. There were some excuses back in the day, but right now there's no more excuse.
Yeah.
They know what they
No.
need. Like I said, and the higher level programs, they're endorsed by Nike, Adidas, whatever. When you start giving these programs money and shoes and equipment and things of that nature, that needs to come along with making sure they're being taken care of and trained the right way. And if not, they need to
Trained
move
and
on to the
coached.
side, get somebody
Yeah.
else. Exactly. See,
What,
so
this,
there's no
yeah, because
excuse
it's
at this
part
point.
A.
Thank you, thank you. You also mentioned something later on
Part
too, Craig. That after that training and stuff, they need to get on the floor and just play basketball, freestyle. No summer league. Just
Yes.
let them play so
but
they can work on that
but
stuff.
but I agree with that, Ed. When you say freestyle, first of all, I think there's two parts. Like you said, that the environment should supply two things, but most of the time it only provides one thing. And
Hmm.
if the person's right, and that's refinement, because
Yes.
everyone's working on what they're already good at and they're comfortable with, so they're getting better at that thing. That's refinement. But to me, player development is identifying what you said earlier, Craig, where the deficiencies, identifying the deficiencies and addressing those deficiencies, and
Hmm.
then carrying that to what you said, Ed, but it's hard for players to do this because you worked on something all day and now you're going to have to go incorporate it into play, which is uncomfortable. And when it
Yes.
ends up happening, because our pride kicks in, we're competitive, we want to win. We go from working on certain areas that we need to develop on to playing for that win. Because I'm listening to Craig talk. I'm like, no, man. So it's hard to. Sometimes you have to. The kid has to be forced into an uncomfortable situation so they can grow. That is the responsibility of the quality program, in my opinion.
It is.
Because not only is even if the parent isn't paying for their kid and their scholarship and the kid, the sponsor paid anyway. So the program is getting paid. So you still have the duty, even if you're not getting paid. Your reward is in watching these kids develop. But there's, like I said, there's two parts. There's development and there's refinement. And you're lucky if you're getting refinement, but that's what most people do. They go work on the things that they're comfortable at. They don't know. They don't know that they don't know. And so, Craig, the trainers are very valuable, but they have a responsibility towards the development of the player. Period. Not smoking purists. Not how many how much publicity they're getting on social media or how many people are talking about them.
Right.
But they're actually doing a genuine job, more so than being marketing specialists to get people to the gym.
I know they couldn't have guidelines for it, but they should have guidelines for you being a trainer and being an AAU coach. There should be guidelines, because you see the worst in both of them. You see the worst in trainers who they don't really understand who they are, but it's a way that they've made. And I'm not trying to knock the broom out of anybody's hand, but I think for the game to continue to grow at the highest level that we need it to here in the United States, I think there needs to be guidelines for certain things like that right there.
And the accreditation, there's no
accreditation. Yes.
There's nothing. There's no certifications. That you just a guy we talked about. A guy goes from being a youngster who was bereft of the right information to being 25, claiming to be a trainer.
All
right, and goes quick, y'all. Here we are again with the end of the group. So, in closing, Ed, let's start with your closing thoughts.
Well, we only got 2 minutes, so like I said, I think it's like you said, it's important to make sure that the people that are surrounding you, especially for the kids, for the younger kids trying to develop, make sure you got the right people around you. Make sure you're working on the things that you need is going to help advance your game every day. Like we always say, Troy, if you're in the gym, if you're not getting better every 5 to 10 minutes, you're doing something wrong.
You're getting behind.
Yep. Grant?
He said it perfectly. Ed said it perfectly on what my thoughts are, and the conversation we just talked about is that right there. Is development is key, but the right development is the bigger key. Yeah.
And it starts with the people in your circle that are willing to be transparent and as a I'll say this last point real quick. One of the roles of the trainer or the environments is to have the ability to project a little bit. You can look at the kid and you can see that, all right, this is in line with his aptitude qualities. This role for you, you can develop into this role and find success in this. You're built for that. Like, I remember one time, Ed, a parent was asking you the question, and you were like, well, it's hard for me to be relatable to you because your son's going to be 5'9", and my son's 6'8". So we're talking about
a difference.
Two different. There's a difference. So
So
there should be some type of realistic scenario where you're getting the right type of appraisals so that you have an opportunity to move in a positive direction. Now, everyone's getting better. Like I said, basketball players are some hardworking folks. So everyone's getting better marginal. But are you one of the few that get to attain chartable growth? And that means that you worked on areas where you were deficient, which is a strength in itself. To identify weakness is a strength in itself. Anyway, so
that's right.
Here we are again at the end. If this is your first time watching telecast, please like, subscribe, tell your friends. We're here every weekend doing the same thing. We love to go back and forth with you because our goal remains. We're trying to move you forward, your fans, the players and coaches. We're helping you guys to become a little bit more intellectuals of the game.
That's right.